What's up, Bulldogs? All right, so you probably don't care about my opinion about the Epstein situation, and that's fine. But I'm going to give it to you anyway because I think it's pretty relevant to what's going on in the world today and understanding how the world works, right? And so so if you haven't heard, I mean, it's the news is that Epstein he offed himself and there was no client list, right? So clearly that's a lie, right? I mean, clearly that's not true. It doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, if there's 1,000 human, child trafficking victims, then who are they trafficked to? It wasn't just Epstein. His accomplice, what's her name, Maxine. She's in jail, right? She's being charged with something. Who did she traffic these children to, right? It just doesn't even make any sense at all. They have all these videos. They're saying that the videos are CP that he downloaded and that he's a sick bastard. Please. Come on. It doesn't even make sense. And when you look up the hierarchy of like who is Maxine Gladwell and who is her father, you can do the research and you'll find who that is and what kind of operative that person is. So, okay, there's a really just it's almost like too obvious of a connection there. Not only that, but then you got the prosecuting attorney who prosecuted P. Diddy and who was prosecuting Ghislaine Maxwell, which is Andrew Cuomo's daughter, the former FBI director who made the threat against Trump right on his Instagram. Like, it's just it's too freaking crazy, too bizarre, right? So, with all that said, I've got some theories about what happened here. So first of all, Trump. Oh man, disappointed in Trump for sure, because I kind of believed him. I kind of thought, all right, that he's going to, have this Doge office, have Elon Musk in there, Vivek Ramsway, who is actually would have been my presidential candidate choice. But I still support Trump. I'm like, okay, well, he's doing some good stuff, but we're going to do Doge. We're going to get the budget in order. The American economy finances, right? We're going to, check Fort Knox, see how much gold is in there. Didn't happen, right? We're going to, get the JFK files and the Epstein files and all this stuff taken care of and drain the swamp. And he didn't do it. He didn't do any of those things. In fact, it's pretty apparent now that there's been kind of a reversal, and there's a lot of people that are changing their tune. So it really makes me think that they're being controlled, right? That there is some group of people, whoever is in on this, and there's probably a lot of people. There's probably a lot of people that would have been implicated in the Epstein files. A lot of powerful people, and somehow they have some leverage on Trump. They have leverage on other people, right? Pam Bondi and and the FBI director and all this. They must have some kind of leverage in order to get this many people to lie about this, right? Because here's the thing about it. Like, okay, because you might say, I've thought about this because conspiracy theories and all. So maybe it is true that let's say that Epstein offed himself. Maybe it's true that he didn't have a specific like client list. There wasn't kind of smoking gun evidence there. But why would you drop the investigation? Why would you not like dig deeper into this? What happened to like the victims? There's 1,000 victims. So surely those people know some of the people that they were forced to have sex with, right? Like, I mean, if they were trafficked, if they're trafficking victims, were they completely blindfolded? Did they have no idea? Like, if so, then let's find this information out. Like, this isn't something that should just be dropped. And it's weird that in the press conference, Trump is getting upset about this and saying, "Oh, you're still caring about Epstein with all the other stuff going on." Wow, that completely destroys my confidence in Trump. 100%. I'm not in his corner anymore, right? I think maybe economy will be good. He might do some good things there, but in general, he's clearly compromised and corrupt, right? And I say and because if you allow yourself to be compromised and to let this many people that have committed such a heinous crime get away with it, then you are also corrupt, right? That's just how that works, right? So there's just no excuse for it, no matter what the reasoning was, right? And I've got some theories. I mean, it's pretty clear, like the timing of all the things of bombing Iran, and with with what's happened politically, that there are certain people that are pulling the strings, or certain nations that are pulling the strings, right? That's just becoming really, really clear at this point, and it's pretty hard to hide that. So, I mean, that's what my theory is that, is Trump actually implicated? It doesn't matter at this point, because it almost feels like, maybe when you get into U.S. government, someone comes to your house and they tell you, okay, look, here's the deal. If you'd like to get murdered and have all your family killed, then talk about this stuff. Otherwise, you need to play ball. Like that seems like that's what's happening, because really, is there much of a difference between the Democrats and Republicans at this point? Like it's just a game, and so I think it's important just to realize that, right? So and the reason why I even make this video or even say this stuff is because just stop it with the politics. Like, give up on the politics. Like, seriously, like, it's not, I kind of got sucked back into it. I had basically written it off for a while. And I kind of got sucked into this whole thing, and because I was starting to get hope again with the changes that Trump was wanting to make, but it's all just politics. It's all just propaganda. It's all just bullshit. Like, none of it is real. Everything that's going on, you have no idea what actually is going on in the world. It's not real. Like, the stories, the spin, all this stuff. I mean, it's really, really clear. We should have known this when, back when, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name now, who's in Russia, Edward Snowden. Okay, when he showed that the government was spying on everyone, right? Like, that surveillance has increased at this point. It's not decreased, right? Like, there was a major violation. Like, obviously, this kind of stuff is ridiculous, right? The idea that someone who was a famous criminal sex trafficker that they caught, that he would be even have the ability to off himself in prison, it doesn't make any sense. And then, just like a couple months ago, one of his victims, one of the traffickers, offed herself. It doesn't, like, really, like, at this point, is that even feasible? Is it even possible? There's just so much stuff that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't make sense to dismiss this stuff. It would make sense to, like, explore this stuff. To look at and really investigate this. If you really wanted to, convince the public that nothing was going on, that this was all legit, then you would have some kind of third party look at the evidence, right? Outside of the FBI, someone outside of the government, right? You'd have at least some people that you would say, okay, well, let's show them exactly what we have. Let's have kind of a third party an audit of this. Just to prove this, that, because it looks really, really bad, right? It looks like we're lying. It looks like we're covering something up. So, I still wouldn't believe it, honestly, at this point, because there's really nothing that's going to convince me that, this that this isn't bullshit, right? Especially even with the P. Diddy thing. Like, come on, like, no one is getting prosecuted. No one's going to jail for these crimes that they're obviously have been committed. It doesn't make any sense, right? So the other thing to think about this that I think is important for our worldview is to realize that the law doesn't mean shit. Like, don't have a moral attachment to the law. You should read the book How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World by Harry Brown, by the way. It kind of talks about this, but his kind of strategy of it is essentially like understand that there are laws, but they're not moral laws. And understand the consequences. Like, break those laws whenever you want, but just understand that there's a risk that you're taking, and so strategically break the laws, right? Because what kind of authority? It is one thing, I think, when we're operating from a moral authority and laws are being made by people who you trust, who maybe not perfect people, but are trying to do good and also are subjecting themselves to those same laws, right? And trying to uphold order in the community, right, in the nation, right. But when you find out that the very people who are entrusted with the government, who are entrusted with creating the laws, enforcing the laws, right, interpreting the laws, are actually the most flagrant, the most flagrant disregarders of those laws and of justice, then it sort of collapses the whole system. Then I really, as an individual, have to say, why should I follow the speed limit? Why should I like pay my taxes? Why should I do these things? Like, I have no moral obligation to do it. Like, I'll do it because I don't want to get caught and I don't want to get in trouble. When I think that I won't be able to get away with it, but when I can get away with it, I will. Right? Again, I'm not saying like do bad things to people. I'm not saying to break the moral laws of of the universe. But what I am saying is that you have to understand that there is no reason to constrain yourself to the laws of society. They are made by people who flagrantly disregard them, who are using them to control you, but not subjecting themselves to that. That those same laws, right? So it's hypocrisy, right? And so when you see this level of corruption, I think that's what I think about, and I also think about like do not waste any time of yours or any emotional investment behind any politician at this point. Like, do not be like, oh, Democrats, don't be all Republicans or whatever it is, or think Trump's gonna save you or whoever it is or whatever candidate. It doesn't really matter, right? It's very clear that it does not matter who the candidate is. It doesn't matter who the president is, right? There's some slight differences, some slight leaning this way or that way, but in the very end, the same thing is going to happen, right? The same agenda, right, is going to happen because there are people that are in control that are able to control all levels of the government, and whatever conspiracy that says what this is. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I think some of them are standing out more so now. It's becoming really clear that a certain group of people, potentially are, or a government is behind this. I think that is becoming very, very clear as we're seeing things unfold. But yeah, I would not trust. I will not trust at any point in the future any politician, any president. I won't get behind anyone. Like, there's just no point in doing it because it is all a facade. It is all a farce, right? It's not real. It's not real. It's not real, right? So anyway, I think, I'm not trying to be jaded, but I mean, the real message behind the message here is watch out for numero uno. Watch out for yourself, right? Pay mind to your own business, not to the business of other people and what's going on in the world, because it really does not matter, right? You think that it might, you think that things might be different. It's not going to happen, right? It doesn't matter. Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter, right? Even, it's kind of interesting, like the Elon Musk thing, right? He started his own political party, the American Party. Would I back that? Yeah, I mean, I would back that, right? Because it is not Republican or Democrat. It's new, but you got to think about, like, can that even be compromised? Is that compromised? Is this all part of the game as well? Elon, I don't know. I don't know how far it goes. I think some of the stuff that Elon is saying makes me feel like, okay, he's not under control, but I don't know. If you think about the evolution of propaganda, that's something that has been going on for a very long time. And so what is the expert level of propaganda at this point, right? You got to really think about that. Like, what really is it? It's probably beyond what we could ever comprehend, right? The other thing I think about all the time is, like, does Trump really tweet his tweets? Does he really make his tweets? Does Elon really tweet his tweets? Is that really, like, am I really to believe that these guys that are in such positions of power are sitting there on X and making posts? Is that really what I don't have time to make posts on X. So these guys do? It doesn't make sense to me. I've always kind of questioned that narrative. So, my guess would be that it's all completely a facade. It's all a farce. Like that, none of it is real. That you think that you're seeing real people, but you're not. You're seeing actors, right? If you want any evidence of that, just look at Ukraine, right? Look at the president of Ukraine. What is his history? He was literally on a television show about where he pretended to be the president of Ukraine. He is literally an actor. And now he's the president of Ukraine. Is he, do you believe now he's not? Now he's not acting? You believe all of this is not acting at this point? I don't know. It, maybe I'm wrong, but I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt it at this point. So, yeah. All right, guys. That's it. I know this was not a video that I normally make, but I don't know. I thought you might be interested in my take on this, but yeah, I would just say, like I said, avoid the politics. No matter what side that you think that you're on, you're not. You're just being used as a pawn. You really are, right? And again, I'm not above this, right? When Trump got elected, I will admit that I got a little bit taken in by that, right? I saw his Joe Rogan thing, which it seems like Joe Rogan experience seems to be like the Joe Rogan podcast seems to be a very interesting propaganda platform now. I didn't think so, you know what I mean? And there's still a part of me that's like, nah, Joe wouldn't do that, would he? But maybe he's being used and he doesn't even realize it. But that's what it seems like. Because the reason why Trump won the election is 100% Elon Musk and Joe Rogan. That's what won it, 100%. And so you got to look back and say, okay, how did this come to be, right? And then what happened after that? And it does seem to me, again, that Trump at some point made a U-turn and that there was something that caused him to make that U-turn, because he definitely has changed from what his stand. And you might say, okay, well, that's just what politicians do. Yeah, but why do they do it? What happens when they actually get elected, when they actually get into the government? What did they find out? What actually happens that causes them to flip-flop? Is it just the votes? I don't think so. I used to think so. I don't think so. I think there's something more nefarious that's going on, and it's pretty clear that there is at least something nefarious that's going on that is within the government. After the Epstein, after Edward Snowden, there's just no denying it. Like there's something going on, and we probably will never really know the truth.